Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Hello. Hello. This is Prabhat Varshni again. I'm an engineer from NIT and MBA from FMS with about 4 decades of experience in PSUs, having worked with National Fertilizers, NTPC, Power Grid, Power Trading Corporation, then Power Sector Skill Council. This is just to revamp about to those people who have just joined and who have not attended the earlier sessions. So friends, we go with the presentation skills, which is paper 6 of semester 2. And we already had 6 sessions. And in the 6 sessions, we have covered the major aspects of presentation skills. But however, certain topics, they are assorted, which needs to be added to all the presentation skills that we should have. And in this topic, we intend to cover the integration, social media and mobile devices in the session. How we can do this and using formative assessment apps in the session, particularly covering the Socrative or some alternatives. Whenever presentations is there, technology is changing, and with the COVID, now COVID-19 already into picture, I think technology will find a lot of changes now in day-to-day activities. Already technology was advancing, but the new normal which is going to come after this COVID-19 is not going to be the same normal which was there earlier. Now more reliance on the technology has to be there, and probably the physical movements will be more replaced by digital media in future activities which are going to take place in presentations particularly, and then in the area of you can say presenting your issues. The physical movement is likely to reduce further. Now in the presentation skills, I've segregated topic wise. Basically, it is not like a full chapter. It is like on certain topics I'll be touching in, and these topics will be very much interesting to younger generation who are already aware with all the nuances of the latest digital systems. They are using it on day-to-day activities, and probably I'll be able to learn more from our younger people than what I can share with them. This comprises of the latest systems on which you are being exposed daily. See, when we say integration of social media, how we are doing it, just to just give you a glimpse of that particular activity. When we say integrate in the process, how you can integrate. See, you can create a website for presentations so that certain people can access the relevant resources during or after the presentation is over. Or you can also have a Twitter hashtag that everyone can use when sending tweets, or display the Twitter stream during question and answer so that everyone can see the questions and comments on the back channel. These are some of the few media which you are already must be familiar with, and which are being used in presentations, and how we can integrate it with that is our main key motive. What I try to cover it is into these 5 heads. One is the presentations. When the presentation is there, what are to be seen. This already you are quite conversant in our earlier lectures and earlier sessions, where piece by piece we have been progressing around various activities. In this, we will cover assessments, how assessment is being done. I'll tell you what assessment will be focusing on basically, because this assessment, the way you are aware about, is not the assessment we intend to do. It is slightly deviated from the main assessment systems. Then the secretariat or others. What are secretariats? Yes, the softwares, how they can help in making life easier, in making presentations. What are the social medias which are really helping us into day-to-day of activities, and the mobile devices of which you must be familiar that we can use in day-to-day work. So first of all is the developing presentations. In this, I'd surely like to have participation of my friends who have been attending the earlier lectures, because they must be quite conversant in many of the terms that we have already used. First of all, whenever presentation is there, Okay. Whenever presentation has to be there, you remember those 5, 6 steps that we have discussed is you have to plan your presentation. And when you have to make a presentation, you have to identify your situation. And you have to identify what is the purpose that you're going to make a presentation and what is the audience profile means for whom you're making a presentation. Then you have to identify what is the best medium through which you will like to interact with your audience. And then you have to organize your presentation, defining the main idea, limiting the scope, and preparing a broad overall perspective, you could say broad overall line of your presentation. So one is the plan. So we are planning your presentation. Second, once you plan the presentation, then you try to develop on the lines on which you have planned. What is your focus? What is your goal? And you start taking activities and actions which converges to that particular activity. You adapt to your audience by tailoring your style and language, what sort of people you're going to interact, because when a social presentation is there, people with different walks of life are there. So that also is one of the most important ones, which has to be taken care at the time of deciding this. Then whatsoever you want to discuss is you give it a body, you compose it in a form of a, say, I told you last time in the earlier lecture, there has to be an introduction. Any presentation which is there, it has to have an introduction. It should have a body where you want to put the content, and then the closure where you try to summarize what you have discussed in the entire session. The introduction that you identify should arouse interest in your clients. So in order to build your credibility, and you should be able to convey your message. Use the body to connect your ideas. These are the body actions so that you can also hold your audience attention. And when you are developing a presentation, you should be able to close it with confidence and clarity, restating the same main points and describing what are the next steps that you intend to take. Now, once the presentation is there, then comes the delivery part. Now, when the delivery has to be there, you have to choose a method, which should be speaking from outlines or in notes. Nearly in all the situations, you have to work out that way. What are the other thing you have to do is you have to practice until you can deliver your material naturally without reading your slides. You should have a hold of the subject so that anything which is required, you should be able to present to them. But slides really helps out in giving you a particular structure so that you goes into a structured form and you don't deviate from your main path. Then what you have to look into is prepare to speak by verifying the operations of all the equipments that you're using. It can be a mic, or it can be a speaker, or any other gadget that you're using. Say a computer is there, or on top or through whatsoever media that you have chosen, it should be in workable conditions. Then you have to speak by verifying the operation of all the equipment you need to use. Determine whether you have also to look into in case the audience that you're going to represent are of belong to different areas, use different language, caste, creed, color. So accordingly, you should have an interpreter who should be able to interpret the message that you are to convey in that particular language. These days, the interpreter, small gadgets are also there, which are distributed to all the audience. And if the speaker or the audience are from different backgrounds, having different languages, it gets interpreted automatically without the need of a physical interpreter. But yes, when you are presenting your content, at that time, many times a physical presence of an interpreter is also required. Overcome anxiety by preparing thoroughly. Yes, since you are experienced people, you know very well. If you have to deliver, you have to do your homework. If you do your homework, you'll be more confident. You'll be able to deliver more confidently and in a very clear and precise manner. Once you have done the real thorough analysis of the presentation on the topic on which you are going to talk, or you are going to share, or you are going to discuss, then you'll be more confident in handling the question answer sessions also, which must have, or the curiosity of various audience who would like to discuss with, or the questions who can they can raise, and you'll be able to satisfy them to the best. Embracing the back channel. This is very important. See, whenever a presentation is there and the social media is to be used, is to be pursued, you have to ask for feedbacks. You have to ask for the feedbacks, and this helps you in reviewing your comments to improve your presentation for future also, and automatically tweak key points from your presentation while you speak. Then you have to establish expectations with your audience also. Giving presentations online. One of the best ways is, which successful people do, is they send a preview of the study material ahead of their time. Before the lecture, in case some discussions is there or some workshops is there, and it should have gravity, or like annual general meeting is there or certain. If you are able to circulate the reading material in advance, then you understand your audience is also on a similar platform, and interaction becomes very easy. You save on time, you don't digress, and you don't deviate from the main content. They are also all prepared and have relevant questions, which probably deliberation takes place, and the deliberation becomes more meaningful. If possible, you should rehearse this thing also, because earlier also we had discussed the time slot at times is given is very restricted. Time is very important. So when a restricted time slot is given, you have to manage with it that you have to pass your message, you have to convey your message in a very precise manner within that particular time. So time constraint is always looked into very, you can say, it's a very essential item in this activity. And what already I had said is like to make a presentation very simple, so that it should be communicated easily. It should not be very complicated, so that people get confused in that. During this, you can ask feedback questions frequently also, so that you understand what you are trying to convey. Your audience is moving on the same path. Consider the viewing experience from the audience member's point of view also. This is what I had said earlier in our earlier lectures. Like you should know the audience, what is your audience, and it has to be segmented in that particular area of operation, so that you both are on the same platform. Whenever interaction is there, you have to give ample of time to all, so that they get connected with you and familiar with the screen they are viewing basically. That again is just to bring you on the same platform, where the interaction becomes more easy. Embracing the back channel. Back channel word we had used earlier also. Many times what happens, the media we are adopting, social media like Twitter or any other digital media. So what happens, the members, in case there can be two things. One is either your deliberation is very attractive and you are keeping the audience to you, and many times what happens, your audience is not with you. So what happens, they start to have a parallel communication system also, by a black channel. Black channel means because they are it is not in the knowledge of the speaker, and it can be through texting or live blogging also parallelly. If you have if it is through a digital media. Now when such type of thing takes place, then there's a parallel session also going amongst with your audience, and with your audience, which has you can say advantage and disadvantage both. See, if you are discussing something very interesting and the audience is excited, they will like to spread the message. Like in WhatsApp, you see certain activities, immediately you click around, and through your groups and all, you start sending them around, because you want a larger audience to know about it, and you want to share that with other people in a matter of seconds. So this is one of the plus points basically. You can immediately connect with outside world also, and the information can be shared, and it can be, you can say, dispersed in a bigger area basically, or with a lot of people. But there's a disadvantage also. Disadvantage is suppose there's a particular you can say a technical activity or any other activity, and you claim certain data. You claim certain data. So with the digital technology in their hands, immediately they can check whether your claim is right or wrong also instantaneously, and then they can comment on that also. So deliberation becomes more meaningful. So you have to be very clear that the data that you discuss with your audience has to be very precise, and it has to be the latest. Whatsoever data that you intend to share, it should be authentic, so that you don't cut a sorry figure, because once they start checking the same data parallelly and there's any deviation in that, it will really put you in a very embarrassing situation. And the second thing is it also gives more leverage that can spin presentations to go out of control. That is also very important. Okay, so this was the part I said was on presentation, where I was trying to cover up the broader aspects, where how you go ahead with making a presentation and where digital can be plugged in. That's what we have to work out. And what are the digital tools that you are having? How you can make good use of them during your presentation. First is the assessments. Now, what do you understand by assessments? Okay. There are three types of assessments. Friends, you must be aware about, I'll categorize it into three types of assessments. First and second assessments, obviously, you must be very much aware. And since you are into management size, you must be doing it day and night. Like, okay, first one is the summative assessment. Summative assessment means it is for the top management. What happens is, at the end of the year, you make assessments. Since you are working, you know what you call it, ACR's annual reports, annual appraisals, and all. These all are end of the year assessments you work out. This is on the employee part, or otherwise also if certain activities are going on, you make yearly assessments, how the thing is and how the progress is, how you would like to, you can say, plan your activity for the next year and subsequent years also. There you make state assessments also, how the things are aligned to content area, state standards, whatsoever the standards, are you really making assessments, whether you are adhering to that also, and measuring students' attention basically in this activity. Then comes the interim assessments. Interim assessments can be 6 to 8 weeks assessment. It can be, say, in school, it can be in school, district level assessment, identify gaps in the students' learning, predict students' performance on state tests. Then data used to the classroom level or district level decisions. These are the interim assessments basically you try to work out. And if you find some deviations are there, you take appropriate steps to really steer it back into the right direction and take, you can say, appropriate steps for that. We are trying to work, we'll be focusing on formative assessments. See, once the activity has taken place, you assess and then you take action and how to work on it. But how to assess the situation in the real-time basis. Real-time basis, so that you don't waste time and you understand minute to minute, you should understand the activity that you are doing. The activity that you are doing, are you able to interact with them there and then or not? This is called daily assessments, or linking to learning experience, that we will be detailing further. Okay, how the learning experience is there when you are taking a class, you are working on a student.
Baba, laptop. My phone 100% well, 96%.
Hello. Okay. Then you have assessment. Students understand the mastery of skills. So I was talking about the students basically. When you are delivering something, how much they are understanding, how all the students are understanding, are they on the same platform or they are on different platform and all. So how to work out on that? That is one of the major issues people have started working around. Full day you work on an activity and the result doesn't come as desired. So the entire exercise goes for a sixer. It becomes not futile. But if minute to minute you are able to identify message that you're trying to convey, whether it is going in the right direction or not, and then accordingly you deviate at that particular time, it becomes more informative. Time is a sense, and each and every minute is very important. So, and time once gone cannot be recovered again. So you have to make the very optimal use of that particular time, which is at your hand. Data used to modify instructions of, and say, in case certain discussions are going on, you can also modify the instructions level also. If this activity is taken place into the field, in areas, in any sector of economy. So we'll be focusing on formative assessments, which is the crux in the presentation skill. How do you define their different definition, different authors shares their own views. But in this, I'll just give you, Hindi mein we call it Rachnatmak. Rachnatmak basically, it is in the point, it is to the point basically, or to the time. So when we say formative assessment, it is basically monitoring that occurs throughout the process of learning. This is very important. When I say real-time basis, it is throughout the process of learning. When you are conveying, conducting, and the other person is trying to absorb, you are in the process, providing the students with feedback on how they are doing and what their next learning steps are going to be. If it is done during the instructional process itself, then the very purpose of improving teaching and learning is worked out. You are able to deliver to the optimal for which you have designed your presentation. Also, the purpose is to provide students with concrete and specific information they need to be able to evaluate and therefore improve their own learning. And how much your student have learned up to a particular point of time. Say it's a 1 hour session, you are discussing with them, and after 15 minutes, you start taking feedbacks and working out. You will start understanding how much they are understanding, and you can change your style, you can change your language, you can change your coursework, and then you can reorient the entire thing so that it becomes more meaningful and people are able to work out on. Dickens is one of the authorities in this particular area who has identified this statement that how much the students have learned up to a particular point of time and on the real-time basis. See, when we say formative assessment as a dialogue and a process, see, when we say it is a process, this process goes in a cycle. In the cycle, I try to identify, say, if a student to students are working on a particular project, then our cycle says, first of all, you have to adopt the learning and teaching. What exactly you are learning, you have to identify, then share your objectives. Then sharing the learning the objectives and the success criteria. Once you are able to do it, then you collect the evidence of learning. How you are learning, what you are learning, and then when the learnings comes to you, you analyze the data and make inferences out of it. Once the inferences have been done, it has to be in the form of qualitative or quantitative feedback. So once this feedback is there, immediately you adopt to learning and teaching again, taking into consideration those shortcomings or those deviations so that it is a continuous improvement process. After 5, when you say qualitative, quantitative feedback is there, basis on that, on the outcome, you again go back to adopt those into your learnings and teaching, and again sharing those learnings further, again collecting evidence further to the learnings that you are trying to impart, what is the impact of that particular, analyze data, and this process goes on in cyclic order. If we take it in the physical form, it is a cumbersome task and a very difficult task. It is very difficult for people to identify whether they'll be able to work out to this level or not. So probably artificial intelligence, machine language, and different softwares have started coming into the help of human beings to do this work more purposefully and with a better perspective. There are different definitions are there. See, when we say formative assessments are there, obviously check for understanding along the way, in real-time basis, correct, guide teachers' decision making about future instructions, because since you are getting feedback, time to time feedback you are seeing, giving around, this is a very fast cycle which goes on about the individuals also. So once you understand what you're trying to convey, you're not able to get the attention, you reorganize and reprogram your language in a way or your content in a way so that it comes into the main cycle. Provide feedback to students so that they can improve their performance value. The underline it says it helps the teacher differentiate instructions and thus improve students' achievements. This is the crux which we have been discussing. Why should we have this formative assessments? The most powerful moderator, which is in this though enhancement, is help identify current stage of learners' knowledge and skills, create appropriate lessons, activities, groupings. These are the same message, the thumb rule that we are already discussing and we already just now shared. It is in different forms. Inform students about their progress to help them set their goals. So this assessment helps out in all those activities. Now, once we do this particular activities, what are the advantages for the teachers? See, the advantage to the teacher is basically he or she is able to identify the student who are struggling with their links or operating under some misconceptions. In case a person is deviating and he is going in a different direction, you can realign his absorption of activity and bring him back to the main course. Improving instructions that addresses students' learning. Take compared to your first point, foster students' conception on task behavior and self-awareness. Once they are able to start absorbing the message that you are trying to convey, obviously more awareness is there, and basically once their conception or you can say understanding of the subject becomes clearer, obviously their participation will become more meaningful, and you are able to you can say, meet your goals. What are the advantages for students if we take a formative assessment system? See, when the formative assessment system for the kids is basically, it offers you a feeling of confidence and control. Because once you are able to absorb, your confidence increases, your self-esteem increases, and you become very much aware that you are in place. You are in the session. You are understanding what is going on, and you get engaged as a part of the activity. They think it become more comprehensive, and they are able to resolve more complex issues. So once every step by step, if you are able to understand the thing, obviously your intellect also rides over it, and you are trying to, and then you are able to really extract more meaningful, you can say, results out of it. It helps students some more time on challenging tasks, and it develops the ability to assess their own work. Once they understand, obviously they can refine, they can on the activities they are doing, and become evaluators of the work of their own peers also. Once you are able to delve deeply into this activity, then your mind becomes analytical. And once it is more analytical, you are able to, you can say, analyze, catalyze, then materialize what exactly was already available, and in case you can add value to it. So that is the advantage which is given to the students get from formative assessments. Every coin has two sides, like head, tail, similarly day, night. So there are some disadvantages also in this particular thing. One is it becomes very time consuming, because when there's an interactive section is there, time also it requires a lot of time also, because whatsoever is you are discussing, the other person is responding. So it takes almost a double time for that activity. So it is time consuming, you can say, it can be in other ways also. Since the students are of different background, different intellect, different this, so you need different types of formative assessments for them in their learning journeys. That's what we call it, learning journeys. These learning journeys of individual candidate also varies, depending upon the intellect, depending upon their background, depending upon their attention span, and many other factors you can add in this. But it's difficult, it becomes difficult how best to do it with a group of students. Generally, when a group of students who are at different stages of development, it becomes very difficult to bring all them on the platform. Platform. Not that it is impossible, but yes, it is one of the bottlenecks of this particular activity, because paying attention to individuals means you are able to, you lose your speed and you are not able to, you can say, interact with all, because you have to pay attention to the person who's not able to absorb this. Now, there are other ways of formative assessments. Basically, it can be observation of the performance, you can say, or homework exercises also. It also gives an idea about how the students are doing around. Learning response logs to this particular, uh, what is the response of their particular learning is there on projects, self-peer assessment, writer's notebook. So these all are some of the tools by which you also start getting an idea and how the formative assessments. Okay, you can just say you make an assessment of that particular candidate through this particular activity. What is the project or how it's working out, how it's delivering basically, it can help out on this. What he has written, how he has written, how he has made notes and other things. So this gives an idea about how the student is moving around. These are some elides also, which helps you in the formative assessment. Okay, now when I was talking about machine language and artificial intelligence, which has made way into various areas of the economy, making life more competitive and more easier also what we are to for people to work on. Say, when I say artificial intelligence, the role of human resources is also changing drastically. Earlier, say, a person who's to recruit is to identify a candidate for a particular job. So he gives an advertisement is given, that person is there, then the process of interviews takes place, and then you try to understand within about 5-10 minutes whether that candidate is to your liking or not, or it will serve the purpose for which you are looking for this. These details you get through a CV or through some other, you can say, details which is given in your CV, or by your, you can say, own intellect. As per your experience, you try to identify whether he's the right candidate for the right job or not. This has become very easier with the help of certain softwares. It has become very easy with the help of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, certain words and feedback feeds are given, and from lakhs of applications, they are able to chalk out a chunk of about 5 to 10, basically, the candidates who are more aptly suited for that particular job. And it really makes the life of the selector very comfortable and very easy. So what I'm trying to convey is, with the change of time, artificial intelligence is working out on this thing, and different softwares are there. In the area of learning and teaching, we have one which is called Socrative. What is Socrative? See, this is why people in the presentation part and the teaching, and Socrative, you can say it is basically a teacher. See, in this, the educators can initiate a formative assessment. How do you assess? You say you have to assess. There are certain tools, there are certain systems and others, but how do you assess? You can assess in the form of quizzes. You can have a quick question polls. You can exit tickets, or you can have space races all over their Socrative Teacher app. But these are some of the activities you can work out very fast on the Socrative Teacher. Besides Socrative, their alternatives are also there, but this is really this is one of the major topics of our discussions. So I'm trying to focus on Socrative. Socrative will instantly grade, aggregate, and provide visuals of results to help you identify opportunities for your instruction. This is one of the advantages of this. There are many advantages, there are many disadvantages of this particular thing also, and how to work out on this. A lot of questions have been raised on this particular on this Socrative, which unless and until you adapt to Socrates, you try to work on this particular you can say app, it will become very like difficult to analyze or you can say generalize in this particular activity. Once you have hands-on experience, you will understand the nuances. What is Socrative Student App? It is an interactive web-based student response system. It is, and this is available through iOS, Android, or Chrome apps also, and that can help teachers spark conversation and learning through user-created polls and quizzes. So this is one of the plus points. This is one of the plus points of this thing is how through this particular media or through these operating systems, they are able to collect the details collect the details through quizzes and other, you could say, interactive activities. Quiz and grade at the speed of learning. Since we are talking about the immediate feedback is a part of the learning process, this particular app, Socratic, it gives you just what for the class, it just what that you require for the classroom and the office, an efficient way to monitor and evaluate. It can monitor also, and parallelly it can start evaluating also the learning that they assign for the litigators by delivering fun or engaging interaction for the learners. There are a lot of questions are there. One says, they say, can you cheat on Socrates? 2-3 questions I'll answer, and there are a lot of questions are there which can arise to your mind, and many of can only be answered once you start working on this particular activity. So when you say, can you cheat on Socrates? No. See, if the students are having smartphone, tablets, computers in class, then Socrates can help you out on this. So these are one of the medias which you require. And when I said in this COVID-19 activity, which has restricted people in interacting with each other easily physically, and social distancing has to be maintained, then the use of various tools, equipments, or have become mandatory now. Kids have started, schools have started interacting on taking class on computer, and the students sitting at home, they are able to interact with that particular media. So this Socrates, in particular, is a great opinion for quizzes too, because you can randomize the questions. You can make questions randomized, making cheating impossible completely. So what I was telling you, if you have not tried it before, please try Socrates today, and you will understand basically what is the advantage of this particular package. When we say, is Socrates free? Now the question starts if you want to work it, is it free or you have to pay for it? It is free. But it allows only one classroom per account. If you would like to multiple rooms, up to 20, you need to upgrade to Socrates Pro, where you might have to pay. So this is the same system like Zoom. If you have, it is free for about 40 minutes, you can talk, but if you really want to take it as a activity for future, or you want to use it on a commercial activity, you have to purchase time. So it's the same principle it works. So a lot of Q&As have been coming up in this. How long can I leave an activity running? And then I can run out from this thing. Does Socrates know when you leave the tab? Yes. Socrates is able to identify when you leave the tab, it can identify this thing. How does Socrates app work? Can Socrates record? It can record you. What is the Socrates test? What are the students have? These hundreds of questions will really come up. Unless until you try to work out on this, it will be very difficult for you to interact on it. Now, when you say what is the difference between quiz and Kahoot, so what is Kahoot? See, Kahoot is basically a series of questions between 2 and 3 multiple choices on which you have to choose from. So that is called Kahoot. This question answer, when you say it has already been lined up, 4 questions are there, identify one and all. So this system is they call Kahoot. And when you say between quizzes, what is this quizzes? It allows the student to face informative assessment in a you can say engaged way for students of all ages. So these are also the active. These are some of the, you can say, sub acronyms of you can say Socrates. How many rooms are available in a free version of Socrates? So all these questions are there. Once you work out on this, you'll be able to understand and get the feed once you work on this particular app. So your engagement with this particular app is really important, and then you will understand the nuances of this particular, you can say the nuances or the features of this particular Socrates app, which is very popular. There are others also, 2-3 types, but this one is more popular, and it has gained popularity, and it is very much used in the academic. How does the app work? One of the very important things is what is the system it has adopted. So people, you must have heard about cloud system, cloud computing, private cloud, commercial cloud, hybrid cloud. So what happens here, earlier you used to have servers in your offices through which your computer used to get connected. Now this cloud system is there, it is in the air. It is in the air, and it can be classified into three, which is not a part of this, but I'm just sharing with you is there's a private cloud. An organization can have a private cloud where all the employees of that particular organizations can interact on that particular cloud, and it is like a closed pools. Then there's a commercial cloud. So many clouds, private clouds are attached to commercial clouds. So, but from commercial, you cannot revert to private. It is a irreversible process in which things are working out. Then there are hybrid clouds also. Hybrid clouds are basically small private clouds are there. They are connected through some interface to the commercial cloud. So this is something the organization has to look into, how you intend to operate. This cloud, so we come back to our study. The Socrative is a cloud-based student response system. The media that you take around is basically a cloud-based system. It was developed about 210 by Boston-based graduate school students. It allows the teacher to create simple quizzes that students can make quickly on laptop or more often by a classroom tablet, computer, or their own smartphone. So three medias, laptops, or you can say tablets or your smartphones. These are you could call the instruments of today, which is prevalent. Some of the questions here I said I'd like to bring up. See, suppose how does the student log on to Socrative? See, go to http://socrative.com and click on login to sign as a student. Students don't need to create an account so that they can connect with the teachers quickly. This is very prevalent overseas. Overseas, I remember I met a young person basically, and I was talking about how the system. He went for his masters to France, and when he came back, I was just asking. He says, "This is what exactly is on with the system. It works. The teacher and the students are not engaged in class with the day-to-day classroom. It can be once in a weekend, but primarily they are through this Socrative system by which they work out of this. They connect to all the students are connected to their teachers, and the student need to enter the room name provided by the teacher. The team are in virtual world; they're not in the real world. Enter the room name and click join to log in. So you can see if you really have to interact, you have to cover a distance, go there, say, teacher will come, then you interact. Here, basically, the spur of the moment, you can just press a button and just see the convenience, and in case he is available, you immediately interact with him. So this is how this particular software is, this app is becoming very popular. Okay. Now, this takes care of Socrative. When I was talking, there were assorted topics we are working. So these are some of the things. Let's come to the next one is the social media. When we say interacting with this media, what is social media? The crux is, what is the social media? Social media, they are interactive computer mediated technologies. Mediated technology means computer is the backbone, and all the technologies are these computer mediated technologies. So it has to be in the form of some sort of software that facilitate the creation or sharing of information, ideas, career interests, and other forms of expression via virtual communities and networks. This is how it tries to interact with. Now, what is social media used for? See, it refers to websites, applications that are designed to allow people to share content quickly, efficiently, and in real time. Same thing what we said last one. Many people define social media as apps on their smartphones or tablets. But the truth is, this communication tool started with the onslaught of the computers only. These all have to have a media which is the computations. So it goes through a computer medium. Explanation of social media in brief, I can say, is it refers to the mean of interaction amongst people. There are different definitions how people identify. So it's coming to the same crux. It refers to the mean of interaction among people in which they share, they care, they create, and or exchange information and ideas in virtual communities and networks. The Office of Communication and Marketing Managers, the main Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, and Vimeo accounts are some of the examples. You are, since the younger generation is there, so you are already You must be members of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all, and you understand what exactly it is. It is nothing new to you. The only thing is, we are trying to revamp uh, what you are aware and what exactly exists. Or in case you can pick up something, that will be really to your advantage. See, earlier there were top 10 social media apps which are very popular. Okay, learn more about these popular media sites. Sorry, these are the latest ones. One is the Facebook. This is easily the largest social network site in the world and one of the most widely used. WhatsApp, you know what exactly WhatsApp, WeChat, Qzone, Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, Google, blah 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 blah. Now they say that the Google Plus is no longer available. So these medias means anything which is being revamped, the old one become obsolete, and the thing, and then you have to once it becomes obsolete, then it goes out of your system and a new version comes out, which is more efficient, more reliable, more organized. Now, types of social media, some of the popular examples of the social media platforms are, let's see, what we have covered earlier, it is a Facebook. What is Facebook? Facebook is a popular free social network website that allows registered users to create profiles, upload photos, videos, send messages, and keep in touch with friends, family, and friends. So you are aware about it. But there's a word of caution I'd like to share. If once any detail you give on Facebook, it becomes eternal. It cannot be destroyed. So you have to be very cautious what data you give it on Facebook, basically, because people have the instances have been out of curiosity, out of your enthusiasm, you are able to load certain details which you regret you should not have done earlier. So you have to be very cautious for the use of Facebook. They are good activity. They are good tools by which, yes, you can have interactions. But on the flip side, you have to ensure that you make a very optimal and a judgmental use of these particular activities so that they don't harm you. That is very important. Second is the Twitter. It is also the microblogging service that allows registered member to broadcast short posts called tweets. So it is something the Telegraph. If you people of the older times, you must be knowing about the telegram system. So when we say telegraphic language, the more words you add, the more money you have to pay. So it has to be very and very precise by which your message is conveyed. That is important. Now, they can also broadcast tweets and follow other users' tweets by using multiple platforms and devices. You must be familiar, which is quite prevalent nowadays. Wikipedia. Wikipedia, yes, you must be knowing about this Wikipedia, you must be familiar with it. It is a free and open content online encyclopedia. I remember about 40 years back, whenever we used to have data, we have to go to the library, pick up dictionaries, and then work out, and then dig in through a lot of books and all to get the information. And that too, the information was in the area of your liking. If you want some allied data is there, you don't felt like even touching them. Like you being a human being, after a certain time you want to understand the medical system, it becomes very difficult for you to get the details in the medical system or medical details, or you can say some other activity is there. You are not able to understand what exactly it is. Wikipedia is one of the encyclopedia where you punch in and immediately you start getting a derivative out of it, which is very in simple language and which is understandable to all persons. So this collaborative effort of a community of users online this is the open content online is Wikipedia. Any registered on the site can create an article of publication. However, registration is not required to edit articles. You cannot edit whatsoever is there, you can give it away. This was founded in 2001. When the technology was advancing, it has become a very old activity, but is still the most sought after. I've seen in schools and all, you talk about a term, by the time you tell the term, the kids below the desk, they are able to immediately go to Wikipedia and identify what does it mean. And I'm telling you, it's on the technical side also. Technical side, being an engineer, there are certain books and certain, you can say, journals we used to go through to understand certain things. And in fact, even after reading twice, thrice at times, it was very difficult for you to analyze, catalyze those particular issues. Then you try to work on your peers, connect with your peers to understand in detail. At times when you go to Wikipedia, The same abstract is given in a very simple and a precise form, which you are able to analyze and you understand clearly about it. So it is a very good helping tool, which is being used, and one should really make use of this particular encyclopedia. LinkedIn, another social media which you all must be members. It is a social networking site, but designed specifically for business community. Now, the goal of this site is just to allow only registered members to establish and document network of people they know and trust professionally. So once it is a business community के लिए this particular activity is there, this LinkedIn is there. So they can only once you become interconnected, that means you know the person and you trust him professionally also. I'm not going into what are the advantages, disadvantages, or what are the shortcomings and other this thing. We are just working out on this. What these apps are there because in an hour's time it becomes very difficult to delve very deeply into individual issues. So this LinkedIn, you are for popular. This is used for business community. Reddit. This is very interesting. Whenever a social news website or a forum where stories are socially curated and promoted by the site members is Reddit. This is composed of hundreds of sub-communities called subreddits. And each subreddit has a specific topic such as technology or politics or music. It identifies which area you are interested and you can immediately log on to that particular site. So you start getting things of your choice instead of browsing in the maze of so much data which is already available. Nowadays, the problem is earlier the data was not available, and if you have data, you were considered as knowledgeable person because you had the data, you had the power, and data was power. Nowadays, so much data is there, so much data you get lost. So now the contention is ki how much data you should have and what is the data you have to avoid so that you don't become loaded with data and get confused and overburdened by it. So Reddit site members are also known as Redditors. They submit contents, which is then voted upon by other members. And the goal is to send well-regarded stories to the top of the site's main thread page. This is Reddit. Pinterest. It is also a social curation website, but it is for sharing and categorizing images found online. If you have to paint your house, or you want to buy curtains, or you want to use certain tiles and all, if you go to Pinterest, it will give you various ideas on this particular site and help you in analyzing. Earlier, you used to take your friends, your other places to various shops and all. If this is okay, or this is okay, this is okay. So Pinterest is at a very precise state. It gives you a lot of alternatives, and you get spoiled for alternatives. In fact, I should say, and through that you are able to identify what is right, what is wrong, and you can work out on this particular. Like you can make up your mind after seeing the so much varieties at one particular place. It will a brief description, but the main focus is on the site is visual. When I say you have to look for tiles, different type of tiles, what type of tiles you have to use, marble tiles or others. So it gives you so much visual display. It really helps you, one thing, to know what exactly is in the market. Second, it helps you in identifying. You become your own interior designer also in a way, because you know what is in the market and whatever things will really suit your system. So you can help in decision making with your interior designer or architect. Clicking on an image will take you to the user to the original source. This is the plus point. For example, say the picture of a pair of shoes is there. Okay, and you want to redirect it. You want to redirect the users to purchasing site, and an image of blueberry pancakes might redirect it to the recipe. Okay, these are basically the shoes. One example, say blueberry pancakes is some other example. So similarly, you can identify just clicking on the picture the content of that particular activity. If you are ordering on Amazon and also you must be seeing the wizard displays there. When you click on the picture, it gives you all further nuances of that particular you can say equipment or the thing that you identified help you out. Okay. After working this, we come to the social media now again. What is social media? Social media is collective terms of websites and applications. This already we have covered. So this is, I think we can skip it because time is very less. But there are certain things I like to add in this thing is, See, this social media, the function of social media is to, again, to stay in touch with and interact with friends and family. Many businesses will use social media as a way to market and promote their products. So this social media is used in the personal life is different, and it is in the business life, it is in a different. See, in addition, there's a business to B2. When we say B2C, B2B, so business to business, business to consumer, C2C, customer to customer, basically, if you're on the retailer side. So these websites include social components such as field for the users in which you're working. Business applications like marketing you can use into marketing products, promote brands, connect to consumers, host a new business, and these are some of the areas on which you can work out. And also, this social media is used for you can say customer feedback. It gives the company about the experiences, everyone else's experiences, which helps in decision making. And this being very quick and fast, so it helps you in quick decision making also. Social media is also often used for crowdsourcing. This is the new term which is pointing up now. The customers can use social media to offer ideas for future products or tweaks to current ones. In IT project, crowdsourcing usually involves engaging and blending business and IT services for a mix of internal and external providers, sometimes with input from general public and their customers. So other B2B applications is social media analytics, the practice of gathering data from blogs and social media websites, analyzing their data to make business decisions, basically, for B2B. And similarly is most commonly use of social media analytics is to mine customer sentiments for supporting marketing activities. I think, I'm sorry, the time is moving fast, so we have to move a bit. I'm trying to skip a certain things faster. Now, social media marketing. When we say social media in the area of marketing, what we do is it take advantage of social networking to help a company increase its brand exposure, and the goal is usually to create a content compelling to the user, which will share it with a social network. One of the key components of this social media marketing is SMO. We call it social media optimization. Like search engine optimization, SEO, SMO is also a strategy for drawing new and unique visitors to a website. It is done by two ways. One is an RSS, web feedback, to allow users to access updates. RSS is just once a particular data is there, it should be updated also. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to make the decisions if you don't have the latest data. Sharing buttons or by promoting activities through social media, that is by accessing updates, tweets, or blog posts. All these tools are used for your marketing applications, marketing and decision. Now, if you go customer related marketing, then it is also very powerful business tool. For example, a Facebook is there. It allows people who like a brand and the way they conduct business to like their page, which creates a venue of communications, marketing, and network. Similarly, social media sites, a user can follow conversations about a brand for real-time market data and feedback. So these are the tools which helps you primarily if you make a thumb rule is for marketing data which is there, you identify data which is important for you, you get the feedback from the market on real-time basis, and thus making quick decisions which direction you have to steer. Enterprise, then it is enterprise social networking. It allows the company to connect with individuals who share similar business interests. See, everything has a particular function. When they have similar business interests, then it helps enterprise social networking. It can be internally, or it can be externally. When we say internally, tools help employees access information and resources they need to work together effectively and solve business problems in-house. And when say external, then it is a public social media which helps an organization to stay close to its customers and make it easier to conduct research, and then they can improve business processes and operations. There are certain challenges also. The integration of social media in the business world can also pose challenges. Social media policies are there. They are designed to set expectations for appropriate behavior. Ensure that companies' employees will not expose the company to legal problems or public embarrassment. So this also are the flip side which needs to be looked into. Such policies or the directly you can say when an employee should identify themselves as representative of a company on a social network media, as well rules of what types of information can be shared. So, person who's interacting with you, they are the front face of that particular organization, and how they interact, what they interact around, really helps in identifying the audience or the customer, the image of the organization. So these things are uh, equally, you could say, have their own importance. Okay, customer engagement, or this we can go ahead. Customer engagement studios that heat power of social media's executives from legendary entertainment explain their customers' engagement strategy. We can see about this. CRM. Social media service and supports the primary vehicle for CRM. This also is the same thing which we have covered earlier. Key customer engagements on social media CRM. Responding to positive, negative customer requires on social media is important. It's more or less on the similar line. Industry experts say that can go far for retaining customers and promoting your brand. So I was telling the person who's interacting with you is the front end of that particular organization, which will really make or mark this particular, you can say, the image of the organization. 10 tips for social media customer service skills. Very important. Mobile devices. Now let's come to the mobile devices. A quick review of the mobile devices. When I said different topics were there, where we have interacted in different topics. So now we come to the last one is the mobile devices. After integrating social media and the Socrative formative assessments, what is mobile device? What is that? That's important. Any mobile computer or a variety of other electronic devices that have portability or functionality is mobile device. Typical examples can be smartphones, tablets, laptop computers, smart watches, e-readers, and handheld gaming consoles. So you are aware about these things basically. Because these are day-to-day activities you all are exposed to. You all must be exposed to these particular devices. The rise of mobile devices is, well, it's written, it's hard to imagine a world without mobile device. It was not that long ago when desktop and stationary hardware ruled the industry, but times are changing, and a mobile device is handled more easily, and you can say it is designed with the portability. These are to keep into mind the portability of, it is designed with portability in mind. That's what is more important. Some of the most common devices are again smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, e-readers, handheld gaming consoles. What is mobile computing device? It is any device that is created using mobile components, such as mobile hardware and mobile software. When we say mobile, it has to be hardware. All these laptops, mobile phones and all, they are mobile hardwares, and which contains the software. So we can say mobile components are those which are having mobile hardware and software. Mobile computing devices are portable devices capable of operating, executing, and providing services and applications like a typical computing device. So these are not rocket science, you are aware? Fine. Mobile computing is what, no, just to revamp, you can just say what is mobile computing? It is a technology that allows transmission of data, voice, and video. Data, voice, and video, these are the three components via computer or any other wireless enabled device without having to be connected to a fixed physical link. Mobile computing, now it can be defined as a human computer interaction that enables transmission of voice, video, same thing, concept. So three things which covers up these things is mobile communication, mobile hardware, and mobile software. These are the three things you have to remember when you say mobile computing. Other types of mobile computing they have been introduced long time back, which has become redundant also, say portable computer. Portable computer have been discontinued now because mobile computers, you can say, these were the old times where you can say those old, you can say the tube type which screen used to be there. I'm just forgetting something which was being used. Ultra mobile PC, laptop, types of computing devices, personal digit assistant, PDA. sometimes called pocket computers. Same. It's a more or less Apple iOS, these operating systems, Windows phones, Palm tops, Champions. And then let's go further. Okay, manufacturers of Android-powered this thing are Samsung, Sony, Asus, Amazon, HTC, LG, Google. The manufacturers of the Android-powered smartphones. Okay. I think we have. Okay, smartphones. Would you like that we should go in details on this thing, or we just skip around? Smartphones, it is they are the popular mobile devices right now, and for a good reason. These devices are handled, can be fit into pocket, have 1,000,001 uses, and help keep us connected at all times. Similarly, tablets are there. They share many of the same benefits, but in a larger form factor. Laptop computers are there. Their devices having always been popular because they give us the functionality of the desktop computer. Smart watches, yes. These devices are relatively new and play in somewhat of a niche market this point of time. The main benefits of the smartwatch is you can get notification and necessary information on your wrist. So that is one of the latest system which has become quite popular. E-readers, these are they share the same commonalities with the tablet, but their primary purpose is for reading. The Amazon Kindle, Barnes, Noble Nook have made the e-reader a popular choice for people who enjoy reading books in a digital format. These days also, when this corona effect was there, we were getting new digital newspapers. So digital newspapers were also circulated by the various the links which were being circulated, and people were reading all sort of information, national, international, magazines, newspapers daily. Sitting at India, you can browse the Washington News, or you can say New York Times, or you can Khalifa, Middle East paper. All were Boston News. They were at you can say they were in your hand palm. Whatsoever mobile computer was there, you could get those very good details. So these devices, these mobile phones and all, smartphones and all, they have changed the whole concept of reading, and it has been bringing books into a new era now. And gaming consoles, the gaming consoles are becoming popular. Nintendo Switch and Nintendo 3DS, they have become very popular now. A few more mobile trends are in vogue and are constantly growing. So this is a market which has no end. The effective corporate social media into presentation is to, okay. So in short, we are saying is when we integrate the effective function of social media in your presentation is to increase your reach. First, identify the channels your audience used to share. If you are presenting at a conference or a part of a larger group, the event hosting, you may have channels that already encourage audience members to communicate via this. This has become popular from 2018, integrating in your presentation. So, friends, we can just conclude the integration of social media into presentation process is the call of the day, so that people after the presentation can access it through the relevant resources, maybe through a web or create a Twitter hashtag that everyone can use when sending tweets. There's no straight line method that works everywhere, but it is the intellect of the presenter and the technology that is used judiciously in order to keep into account the audience well in advance and deliver the product. So this first book is there. This will be helpful to you, by Al Bowie and John V. Till, which I have probably consulted in making this particular topic, and plus some from the YouTube also I try to cover up. Thank you, friends. Thank you for your time. And you can say stay tuned for more in the next session on presentation skills. In the next one, we'll try to integrate the YouTube, how it can be added into the sessions. So with this, I conclude, and would surely like to know in case somebody would like to have some observations. Today, I'm sorry I moved fast, but there were a lot to cover, a lot of topics were to cover. I just thought let me bring it forward so that you can be familiar with it. Though this topic is very much synonym to your day-to-day activities, so I don't think there was some special rocket science in this for you to understand. But since these topics have become a part of a presentation skills, so sharing them with you was essential. Thank you very much. Mr. Arun, can we share some questions? Is there some time? Can we share some questions? If somebody has some questions on this. Hello.
Yes, sir. If anybody want to ask a question, please ask. Anyone?
I will conclude, and we meet the next time on the next topic. Have a nice day. Stay
Okay,
safe,
sir.
be safe. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.